Online dog communities. Should you join them?
Welcome to The Woofie Show, the ultimate dog lover's digest. Meet your hosts, Brian and Magda, two dog lovers ready to help you be the best dog parent, unravel the mysteries of canine behavior, and keep you updated on the latest trends in the dog world. This podcast has something for everyone. Get ready for heartwarming stories, expert advice, and a lot of laughs.
That's exactly what we'll be discussing on today's episode. Now, this is part 2 of a little dog community series. We already posted an episode about the pros and why you should join dog communities, all the benefits, all the good things about them. But of course, when there's good things, there's also bad things. So today we want to talk about kind of the negatives of online dog communities, the bad things, the things to watch out for and avoid. And
the things people complain about.
And so the reason why we're doing this episode, if you didn't watch the first one, is we have our own online Facebook dog community
called Dog Behavior and Training Tips.
Yeah. So it's just over 250,000 members at the time of this recording, but obviously by the time it's posted, it should be higher than that. And that's kind of what we want to talk about are the experiences we've seen from not only but running this group, but being in it, but also being in other communities, and whether that's Facebook, Reddit, whatever other things. A lot of online training courses have their own little like built-in communities on a different platform, things like that. So that's kind of what we are relating to or talking to about this. So, but yeah, before you start watching this, hit pause, search for
Dog Behavior and Training Tips
on Facebook. I have to get Magda to say it because the first episode I said it wrong. I just mixed up the name.
I really hope that is the name
I hope that's the name. I think if you search that, it should show up on Facebook. Join
It's the big one, the one that's recommended most.
Yeah, join that
because
group.
It's so great.
So then you can also understand what we're talking about when you are either scroll through it or post and things like that. So I guess to start us off, what's one bad thing?
You will know that it's our group because it actually says The Woofie Show is the one running the group.
That's right. So there you go. You'll
right. Know
it
you're in
says
the right
group
place.
by The Woofie Show.
Yeah.
That's a valid point. Right. We should have said that in the first episode. We hope if you listened to the first one or watched it, you're watching or listening to this one as well. So
let's go for it. So in our previous episode, we did say that you get a lot of different perspectives, a lot of advice, but this is a good thing, but it can also be a bad thing. Yeah. It can actually be quite overwhelming of how much comments you get, how much advice, different kind of opinions and perspectives and experiences you get. It can just be like a little bit much.
and it's wondering. And I mean, we have posts that within 24 hours they have hundreds of replies, and a lot of them are the same. Yeah, everyone just echoing each other, which is great. Then at least you know, like, okay, if everyone's answering that, that's good. But then there's one person could be wrong,
but if like 10 people's telling you the same thing, like, is it wrong?
And so that's what it is. It's like, what's credible? What's correct? What's the right answer? And the thing with dog training specifically, there isn't really a right answer though, but it's like what makes most sense to you. But it is a problem with such a big group or big communities is who's right?
Yeah.
Who should you be listening to?
Yeah.
You know, out of all the people giving advice. You know, and that's
it can be pretty conflicting.
That's a bad thing too.
Right?
That's the point of it's a bad thing is like you just had a simple question and now you heard so many answers and now this simple basic thing that you weren't too worried about, now you're all of a sudden really worried about it.
Yeah.
And you're overwhelmed and you're like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, like it creates this big confusion. You know, some people are telling me this, some people are telling me that, and I'm like, I don't know anymore. What should I be doing?
Yeah.
One example of that is ice. People can't agree on ice. Should I give my dog ice cubes? Should I not give my dog ice cubes? There are people that are like, no, you shouldn't give it to them because it's going to hurt their teeth. It's going to like explode in the mouth and shatter the teeth. I don't know. There's some people that say, no, it's absolutely cool. Like I've been giving my dogs ice for years and years. Nothing has ever happened. It melts in their mouth. It's all good. And now you just sat there as someone who's really confused because your puppy is teething and you're like, I don't know what to do anymore because these people are telling me that. These people are telling me this. And the funny thing is, even professional dog trainers don't agree.
No, because there's different certifications. Someone that's certified dog trainer, which we talked about in our dog training episode or dog trainers episode, they learn from different places and maybe the overall goal of them being trainers is the same, but they have different methods to get there.
Yeah.
And so even someone's like, I've been training dogs for 20 years and you should do it this way. And then you're gonna have someone says, I've had dogs for 20 years and you should be doing it this way. And it's just like, pull your hair out. Like, I don't know what to do kind of thing. But that's where we talked about it in the pros, and that's where you use your kind of own
common sense,
intuition, and like what might work for your situation, or just try multiple things. But you're right in the sense of there's just so much advice, which is a good thing, and it could be a very bad thing, especially the type of person you are.
At the end of the day, if you had personally experienced an accident with ice and your dog, you're obviously going to go to these dog communities and be like, hey, you shouldn't be doing this because this is dangerous. However, there will be people there who will just completely disagree with you.
It's the same as if you got
because
in
your
a
experience
car
has an impact
accident.
on
Now
you.
you have your experience driving is a lot like different than someone who hasn't been in a car accident.
But at the end of the day, you can have an accident with anything.
Yes,
your dog can literally drown by drinking water.
Yeah.
Does that mean you shouldn't give your dog water? No.
Exactly. So that's kind of like, that's just something to look out for. That is a big, that is one of the problems with these online communities is you're not just getting one person's advice. You're not just getting your trainer or your vet or your,
it
nutritionist.
can be extremely overwhelming.
Depending on the situation, there are things you shouldn't be going to communities about, which we'll get to. But that's kind of the biggest one is the overwhelming amount of information and the conflicting advice, even with professionals. But that's kind of,
That's just how it is.
That's just how it is. The more people that are involved.
This is not a regulated industry, and you will get a lot of different opinions, a lot of different ways and approaches.
Yeah. And so on the topic of self-regulated industry, another kind of negative problem with online dog communities are the self-proclaimed experts.
Yes.
So these are the people that, again, might not have any formal dog training, that say like, oh, I'm an expert because I have this
people
dog
can say
whatever.
that they have certain qualifications, but this is an online community, which is anonymous, basically. You can be talking to anybody.
Yeah, that's true.
It doesn't mean this person is
your,
legitimate, it's credible, it doesn't have a tick next to their
you
name.
don't need
or
to,
like, they're not being verified.
Yeah, you don't need to upload your ID to have a Facebook account or a Reddit account. Well, you look at Reddit, it's just people's usernames. So there's literally, it's even more anonymous.
People can hide behind the keyboard, right? Behind those groups, and you just never really know who you're talking to. Which is different to if you were going to seek out a dog trainer, an actual person, right? That has a website credentials, they have
business,
social proof, right? And you know exactly who you're talking to. That's when it's different.
Yeah. And again, that's where you take your, as we said, with everything when you post in groups and ask for advice or support or help is just, be open-minded, but also pick what makes most sense to you. But again, there are people that will be like, you have to do it this way. And they'll never let it go. And it's like, I'm an expert. And it's like, well, cool.
I love when people call us to be self-proclaimed experts. And it's like, I have never claimed I was an expert. Yeah. We are just two people who do a podcast. We interview experts and we love dogs.
We know a lot. And we're just sharing all the information. And that's what they're for. But
I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to share it. It doesn't mean I'm an expert.
And so on that kind of topic as well is the difficulty in vetting the advice. Kind of has to go with the self-proclaimed experts. And it's like, how do you know which advice is correct?
Well, maybe there is no correct answer.
Well, and so that's what I was going to say is as long as you're not causing any harm or using any aversive bad methods that your dog is being injured, being harmed in any way, there isn't really a correct way to do something. It's like we said in the positive one, because we get these questions all the time in our community, is the potty training. There is the amount of people that live and die by the bells.
As long as your dog goes to potty outside, as long as you achieve a goal that you set out to achieve, it doesn't freaking matter.
It doesn't matter
what way.
which method you use to train them to do it, whether it's the bells, whether it's getting them to wait by the door, whatever.
And then there's obviously all these questions that are like medical, right? That we also get, which I don't understand why we get them, because we are a dog behavior and training group. Yeah. So we have nothing to do with veterinary care. No. But there are questions there that are asking, hey, can my dog eat this? Hey, my dog has anxiety and they've been prescribed this type of tablet or whatever, right? And then you get answers from people recommending certain dosages and things like that. And that's when we are crossing the line there, because, hey, you should probably not be on Facebook getting this type of advice.
No, not in that type of group. And that's where having a good group with good moderation and all of that will help. But it exists. And that's the point of it. It's like, don't just listen to it all.
Yeah. You can say, hey, I'm on the same boat. My dog has anxiety. This is what my vet has prescribed me. But your circumstances, your dog could be different. So please go to the vet and ask them for your own.
Yeah. Or go to get a second vet opinion in person. And that's kind of like the vetting of the advice of like, just because, but then it's the same thing. Just because someone's not a qualified trainer doesn't mean they know less. They might know everything in the world about because they're a breeder. Yeah. They could be like, you know what I mean? We have a toller. We talk to people that are toller breeders. They're not trainers.
I probably know more about tollers than a standard vet.
Yes. For sure. Because we've learned from the breeder. And so that's the thing. And you'll see people like, oh, I've been breeding German Shepherds for the last 30 years. Yeah. This is just a normal behavior they go through, just do these little things. That's what's helped with all of our dogs and things like that. And so I personally would rather take advice from a breeder of the breed you have than as a general overview of a trainer. Yeah. Or whatever kind of thing.
Or a vet, right?
And again,
who just
we don't
knows
say
general
you shouldn't
things.
go to the internet for vet advice personally anyway, but if it's something like minor, then it's okay. And so that's kind of, that's a bad thing. That's a negative thing about the communities. It's like, who's right, who's wrong. Oh no, that's what I was going to say, but it's try different things. If there's 3 different answers, not just 3 people come, but if 3 different methods, try the one that you understand the most, because when it comes to training, especially, there's multiple ways to train something. And I mean, we've been to training classes, and they teach you something, and it's like, I don't understand. I don't, me as the handler, as the human, I don't understand this concept. But then someone else will show, and I'm like, that makes sense to me. I understand how to do that. So I'm going to do it that way, because how do I teach my dog something that I don't understand?
Well, it's funny how you mentioned that, because especially with sports.
Yes.
If you're trying to teach your dog a sport and you go to these classes, you learn a certain way, you might actually find yourself needing to relearn what you've learned in the class, or unlearn certain behaviors, because they no longer align with the type of goal you are trying to achieve with your dog. Yeah. So that's also one of those things, right?
That's true.
Where there's no right and wrong answer. It just depends where you're trying to go.
Yeah, and so same thing, depending on the behavior. Hey, my dog keeps pulling on the leash when we go for a walk. You might not want the dog that's like 100% healed by your side. Yeah. That like never ever goes and sniffs. But some people will say your dog should always be beside you, and it's like, well, no. Well, I mean, maybe if that's what you want, that's fine.
Exactly.
But if you don't want that,
what you want?
if you want them to be like, in your vicinity, but they're allowed to sniff things and all of that around you, then find those people that are giving those type of answers. Yeah. Or giving those like tips or suggestions.
What kind of makes sense to you, right?
And that's the point of like the vetting of the advice is
because a lot of people even like sniffy walks. Yeah. It's a big debate. Some people say you should let your dog sniff all the time, right? Sniffaries, go on all the sniffaries, right? Because it will tire your dog out. In my mind, me personally, I don't want my dog to just have their nose in the ground at all times, because that will make me so frustrated that I cannot go for a walk without my dog sniffing. Yeah. And to me personally, that's just not the type of advice that I would follow. No. But I can understand how this could work for someone else.
Yeah, exactly. Or finding that balance. You'd also don't want a dog that's fully by your side and doesn't move, but a nice variety of both. And so those are the answers you look for. And, or you word the questions and you add that context of, hey, my dog is pulling on the leash when we walk by dogs, whatever it is. I want to, get them to be a little bit more of a loose leash, but not like really strict. Ask those. Ask them in a bit more of a, how do I stop my dog? How do I stop my dog from pulling? The amount of questions. We're getting a little bit on a rant right now, but we're talking about negative things. So these are negative questions. Like, I don't know. What does your dog do? Does it pull just when it passes a human?
What type of dog you have? Yeah. How old is your dog? Where do you live? Like, what is kind of your daily routine? Do you know what I mean? I need answers to all of these questions first before I can even attempt to give you an answer.
When you go and ask those questions at like vets or training, they will ask those follow-up questions. And a lot of times in communities, people will. Yeah. They're like, oh, what kind of dog it is. But anyway, the point of that is just, take all the advice or all the support or all the help you get, and it's up to you to decide what you want to listen to. And again, that's where the problem comes. If you can't make those decisions, then
it might be very hard for you to be in a group.
Well, maybe not asking questions. You definitely, a lot of people are in at least our community specifically, and don't post. But they just get all the insight. Maybe they're going to get a dog, and they learn
which is fair.
So much just on other people's opinion.
You can be a silent member, silent follower, and just read all the things. And the reason why people don't like to post sometimes and ask for advice in dog communities is because there's so much toxicity, so much judgment,
and like negative attitudes,
and negativity. And it's like someone says something, and like the person won't even answer the question. They will pick the smallest detail and like turn it around and make a big deal out of it. And it's like, hold on a minute, like this isn't even my question. Like, why are we focusing on this?
Or people post like little videos or pictures, and you see something in their backyard. I can't believe, nothing to do with the dog. I can't believe you have that thing in your backyard or whatever it is.
Why is your grass dry?
Oh, it's just, but I mean, that exists. That's the role of the internet.
Why is your house messy?
The fact that you're listening to this or watching this podcast on the internet, you probably know that's just what happens. And that's a problem. And you have to have that. I know it's not like personal because it's not someone sitting next to you, but that thick skin of like just ignore.
You do. And it makes me laugh because people think that this only happens in our dog community. And it's like,
the amount of messages we're like, wow, the admins and moderators are being lazy. They're not like getting rid. I'm like, there's 250,000 plus members. Like we can't
moderate
hundreds
everybody.
Of posts a day or thousands of comments a day. Like, you know what I mean? We try.
Yeah.
But you're right. There are those negative people. There's the toxic people. You will say to them, hey, I'm thinking of maybe trying out a prong collar.
Whoa.
Oh my word. And it's like, we're not going to delete that because you need to be educated. It's like, cool. We're not saying use it. We're not saying don't use it.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Someone's like, hey, you know what? If someone answered, hey, maybe this isn't the best thing. Have you tried these options before you go to that? That's a good answer. But some people will be like, return your dog. You don't deserve.
I would never put a prong on my dog.
You don't deserve a dog.
You're a terrible person. You should put a prong on yourself.
Some of the comments. And we do delete them though when they get pretty like hateful.
You should return your dog to shelter because you're such a terrible person. And it's like, this is not helpful. This wasn't the original question. Like, why are we spiraling out of control? Yeah. You need to get your emotions in check because this is crazy.
It's so bad.
You clearly have some mental health issues. Yeah. Like, let's resolve those first, then come back to our group
and if you're one of those people,
offer some advice.
If you're one of those people that we're literally talking about that's commenting, just why? Why did you do it?
Like, there's just no point because you are upsetting people. You're causing us work because we have to go in and delete all of your stuff. So just don't do it.
And so, that's just something that you have to be ready for.
That's
and it doesn't always happen.
Rules to be open-minded, avoid toxicity and judgment. Yeah. Like someone might be doing something you are not happy with. However, this is not your dog. No. This is not your life. Yeah. Why do you care so much?
It's like someone working a job that you don't agree in. It's like, what are you going to do? Go and yell at them and protest outside their door to be like, how dare you work for this company? How dare you go to Starbucks? I think there was a thing in
I don't
Starbucks,
understand all these emotions and all of this commotion that happens.
It's the internet.
But it's the internet and it's the fact that people are just keyboard warriors and they are hiding.
They get out of there. No, but it's how people like get things off their chest and vent and all of that.
I understand. It happens to me. I get things off my chest a lot. My mouth gets me in trouble a lot on the internet.
Yes.
It happens. I understand it. But the thing is, it happens all over the internet. Yeah. It's not just in these dog communities.
No. And just ignore them. That's it. Don't argue. Don't get in a fight. And we see that. And it's like, and don't be...
Because people are fueling the flame.
Yeah,
and when you are doing that, you are putting themselves like in the same kind of level as they are.
And the point of that is, the purpose of that was, don't let that discourage you from seeking out support or answering people's questions. Yeah. If you do have advice,
that's right,
or you do have a similar experience, don't let things like that. And again, it happens. The whole point of saying that is to let you know, we're just warning you, it's there. Yeah. It's going to happen. It doesn't happen on every post or comment or whatever, but it happens.
It happens sometimes, you get all these positivity, all these lovely advice that's actually constructive and productive. Yeah. However, there's this one person. No,
it's funny though. You see it sometimes. I think this happened today, actually. There's somebody that will just put the angry, reaction face on Facebook. Yeah. The angry reaction face on every single comment that they just disagreed with. It's so funny.
Really, you're gonna waste your energy doing that?
But they do, and that's okay.
Another reaction that's very toxic nowadays on Facebook. It's the laughing emoji.
Oh yeah.
Now, laughing emoji is one of those haha, you dumb.
Yeah. But don't. That's the point. Is don't let it discourage you.
And it's toxic, right? And it's just how people are, that these groups sometimes bring out the worst in people. And don't take it personally. Yeah. Just realize that it's there, it's going to happen. And if it does happen, report it to us, admins.
Or, just any group you're in as well.
We can judge whether this should be in a group or shouldn't be. We can then act accordingly, right?
So, so it's a big one. And then I guess to kind of wrap it up is for a negative, and something that we see a lot is kind of the over-reliance on getting support from the community. Yeah. I don't know how to word that in any differently than that.
People just, instead of going and seeking out a dog trainer who can help them physically with their dog, or seeking out a vet support, right? They come into these groups and they expect someone to help them, where some issues you cannot sort out over the internet.
No, it has to be hands-on.
Yeah. Sometimes you literally get a post and people will comment, go to the vet, go and find a behaviorist, go and find a dog trainer in your area. That's when you get the
angry emojis, is when someone says something and they should have already been to the vet instead of wasting their time typing that thing out. But and I think that's a problem, and because it's free. And I get it, dogs are expensive, and there's lots of people that say I can't afford trainers, I can't blah, blah, blah. But if it's really important to you, you will find a way. You will save up money. Cool, you're not going to sort that issue tomorrow, but maybe next month, you'll try to save up a little bit of money to hire a trainer to work with that issue, and instead of just going to those communities. And definitely go to those communities if it's not something urgent, or maybe you didn't realize it's something that actually needs in-person help. And so that's the point. Ask those questions. But if everyone's saying you need to work with a trainer, blah, 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 don't be like, wow, this group is so unhelpful, useless. Nobody's even helping me. How they're telling me to spend money. It's just like,
some issues you're going to have to go to a trainer to sort them out.
The world we live in.
You can spend, X amount of hours educating yourself on this certain issue. For instance, resource guarding. You can read a book that will take you hours and hours. Plus, you're going to have to implement all of these steps that you will read in a book or whatever.
Which will take days,
also,
months, weeks, months.
You can go to a dog trainer who specializes in resource guarding in your type of dog. And you can sort this out or get hands-on advice and support from this dog trainer in an hour session.
Yeah. Or vets.
What is
same thing. Or
with-
vets or behaviorists or things that like you said, you might get advice, but maybe none of it's working.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, fine. Maybe you do need to seek that professional. But when I say professional, I mean like niche professional, not the general over-the-counter dog trainer that just has like a general knowledge. It's like the groomers we had on, the one that specializes with grooming reactive dogs.
Yeah.
If you have a reactive dog, you will go see her. You will not go see the brand new Fluffies grooming salon with the fancy fluffy dogs when you have a aggressive, reactive, German Shepherd kind of thing. But that's the point of it. It's like, depending on your situation, that is a bad thing about these communities is people expect to get all their problems solved just through the internet.
In an instance, right? And like some problems just cannot be solved like that. It's just not realistic. And I don't understand why people think it is.
Yeah, and that's just something that you need to understand. Again, when you don't join the groups expecting to get all your problems solved, because you might ask questions and nobody can help you, because most of the people in these communities are just people like you, like us.
Yeah.
They're just dog owners, they're dog parents, things like that. And they might be, they're trainers, groomers, all of that stuff, but doesn't mean they'll see your post as well. So you might not get any answer. So you might not get the answer you want.
Yeah.
But don't be like, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Because you might be able to help somebody. You might have gone through something that you don't even realize that someone else is going through until you see that question and be like, oh, the puppy blues, like we said, I know exactly what that feels like here. It will get better, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. And so that's kind of like a thing of communities, is don't over rely on them just to help you, but be helpful.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a professional.
Like that's the thing. Like you can give more to the community than you get out of it, right?
Exactly. And so that's just something to keep an eye out for.
Like your engagement and like your input, and just you being there, it means a lot to the community,
to somebody as well.
And to somebody.
Yeah. Your words of encouragement could make someone, like we said at the start, like make someone's day from, returning their dog.
Yeah.
And that's just something that you need to understand with the communities is don't go to one community, not get the answer, bounce to another community, not get an answer, and be like, the internet is a terrible place.
It is.
That's a whole other story. But
yeah.
So that's kind of the negatives. Any other ones we can think of? Most of it is just like the toxicity and the different advice. It's probably the biggest downsides
to
their groups, which
online groups.
Yeah.
But I think as long as you have that at the back of your mind and you understand that, you will have a lot easier time and less anxiety-inducing time in those groups than if you were just kind of oblivious to the fact that people can be terrible.
Yes. And they will be. And that's just the way it is. And so, so don't let... This episode wasn't meant to discourage you from joining these groups, but it was just more of to make you aware that this will happen.
Is the reality check. This is what happens in dog communities and not just dog communities.
And that's what it is. And that's what this whole podcast is about, is not being biased. And so we're not going to be like, hey, here are all the amazing reasons to join our group. We don't get paid if you're in our group. We get nothing out of it, to be honest. So, but it's not like, join, we are amazing. It's like, no, you know what? Our group also sucks because of these reasons, And not just ours, all communities suck because of these reasons. And that's, and if you're in a community or you're working with a trainer or someone and they don't want to openly say like, oh, hey, here are some issues that could arise, and they're not telling you these things, then they're not being honest.
I mean, that's all. It's all about being real, right?
Yeah.
And like, these things are great, but there's also dark side to it.
Yeah, the dark side to it. Makes it sound way worse than it is.
Dark web. I don't know.
No.
That's what I was thinking.
Don't go there.
No, let's not go that deep, right?
No. But so that's kind of this episode. Again, if you didn't watch the positive one, check that one out, because you'll learn about all the amazing things. But let us know. Have you had any bad experiences?
Yeah.
Everyone likes to complain. So you know what? Now's your time.
Now's your time to
complain about
vent.
some whether a community you're in on the internet, even in person, doesn't matter, class, things like that.
Yeah.
Let us know of some negatives. We should have asked that in the positive one, but it's fine. It's okay. Let us know about, a bad experience you had, or what maybe something that you don't like about online communities.
Like what is the biggest issue for you?
Because we would like to know, because we want to make our community better. So we want to understand what are maybe some problems that we're doing and we didn't realize that are bothering people.
Feedback is always great. Like we love to learn how we can just go up from there, because that's how you grow as a person and as someone in those dog communities.
And just to remind you, the community will be linked below in the description or the show notes or wherever you're watching or listening to this.
Dog behavior and training tips.
Yes.
Group on Facebook.
Yes.
It's great.
Yeah, it is. It actually really is. But, we're just educating you of be forewarned that this could. Caution. I mean, it's almost Halloween when we record this? So there you go. We can be a bit spooky of like the bad things, the darkness, as you said. The
darkness of dog communities. There's some crazies out there. Like, you gotta be real, right?
There are. And most communities will vet those people and ban them and remove them and delete the comments. And
there's a lot of scammers, adoption people that come in. Report them, please.
Yeah, please, And if you're in a group that allows that, don't be in that group, to be honest. Just don't.
Do not ever buy a puppy on Facebook or via Facebook groups, ever.
I think we talked about that in an episode too, okay, that's it.
Let's wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up. Otherwise, we will get in another rant about that. If you want to hear our rant, let us know. Maybe we'll record an episode about that, just about that. We should do like lives one day where we just rant.
Adopt a French bulldog.
Yeah, the amount of those we see.
Jesus.
Thanks for everyone for listening and watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. Follow us on the other platforms.
Yes.
Spotify, Apple Podcasts. And this is a new thing we're going to ask for. Please leave us a rating if you are listening to this on the audio platforms. Rating, review.
5-star only, please. We don't accept any less.
Yeah, if we're not 5-star, let us know.
Let us know why we're not 5-star. Yeah. We would love to know.
I don't think I want to know, actually.
No, I don't think so. No. I don't think I'm good with feedback like that. I'm kidding.
But we would really appreciate it. It'd really help us kind of keep going. Keep pushing this. Keep bringing on new guests. That's it.
That's it. And bye for now.
See ya.